Good morning. We're building this Christology here with what Paul is saying. And so we pick up in verse 5 again. We'll start there. Have this mind among yourselves, which is yours in Christ Jesus. Philippians 2:5, verse 6, who though he was in the form, morphe nature of God, did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped. And then we get verse 7, but emptied himself, kenao. Now we get the word kenosis from this. Kenao is the idea of empty. He emptied himself by taking the form of a servant, being born in the likeness of men, and being found in human form. He humbled himself, verse 8 goes on saying, by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. What does it mean that Jesus emptied himself? Kenao. Well, we know that Jesus, in some ways, concealed the full expression of his divine attributes at times. He didn't always act, as I mentioned in a previous thought for the day, in sort of this act of divine fiat. But the interesting thing is we actually don't have to look any more than to the text itself to explain us what's meant by emptied himself, because we get three phrases afterward that tell us what it means, right? So we get by taking the form of a servant, by being born in the likeness of men, and by being found in human form. These phrases, right, through verse 7, the beginning of verse 8, they give us the explanation. So what does it mean he emptied himself? Well, it means that he emptied himself in the sense that his fully divine nature, all of the attributive properties of God are emptied into, right, this human. All of those pieces of nature, right, they retain. But they're poured into a human, he says, into this likeness of man, being found in human form. He takes on the nature of a servant. The form here, the morphe, but as I mentioned to you, the NIV, I think, does a little better here. The NIV in verse 7 says, rather he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant. So it recognizes nature, the attributive properties of this substance, the eternal logos, nature, the attributive properties of the substance of humanity. And now they come into one person. He pours that all the collected divine attributes in. Paul says this in Colossians this way, for in him the fullness of deity, all the collected attributive properties dwell in bodily form. This is the kenosis, the self-emptying of the eternal logos in human form. What a mystery. How magnificent and what surreal condescension. I mean, we get a vision in 1 Corinthians 15 that Jesus subsists in this glorified state, and he has taken on this God-manness in perpetuity. That is an amazing thought, that he would so humble himself. And so kenosis, this doctrine, when you hear it, is the self-emptying. Doesn't mean that he lost attributes. It doesn't mean that he was less glorious. It means that they were poured into this person that took on a human nature, and in doing so, the expression of some of those were veiled, but it's not that they were gone. They were fully there. Always available, but he in humility at times would withhold the expression of them. May the Lord bless you as you contemplate this mystery. Take care.